So Nam Aloha, everyone. Thank you for your patience. I had all my images ready to go and then they disappeared. So that's good. Everybody here is writing down their human design type if they know it. And if you don't, you can go get your free chart. I always have the link in the information below. So your human design type and also your astrological stuff if you want to share that too. Okay, so we're here to talk about Mars retrograde. Let me share the screen here. Okay, great. Okay, so there's the chart. So let's get this off here. Right here. Because we're doing human design types, not zodiac signs. Okay. So you may have heard that Mars has gone retrograde as of October 30th. So this is the chart for October 30th. So it's there until January 12th in retrograde, but it's going to move through some of these shadow patterns. So that's what I want to talk about today. Today is the 12th. And I don't have my ephemeris on me here. Anyway, I can give you that information later about how long it's going to stay in this shadow pattern. So what does this mean for Mercury retrograde? It's, let me see here. Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde. Myself grounded here. Okay, Mars retrograde. Okay. It means it means many things actually, but I want to focus on because there's lots of information on the internet with just plain old Western astrology, and of course you know I use Neutrino astrology, which is based on human design, and what it means is it's going to affect our energy level for sure, because Mars rules our energy, our willpower, but it's also connected to the root chakra. The root chakra, Mars, so down here, the root chakra, Mars rules that center. So this is our instinct for survival, and it also gives us our sense of security. So it's connects us to the earth plane. The 3D plane is our root chakra. So if our root chakra is not stable or balanced, then we're not going to feel secure on the earth. We're always going to be worrying about money, right? Worrying about money and acquiring our material needs, things like that. It's also I am. So this is the beginning of the I am. You come in as just a spiritual being having human experiences, but no identification yet, right? The ego hasn't identified with anything yet. Well, this is where it starts, is I am, right, with the root chakra. So Mars is activating this root chakra along with this 12. You can see the Mars symbol there, the 12.4, and the 12, and that is not the channel of preservation. Oh, yikes. Okay. Okay. This is not called the channel of preservation. That's an error. Okay. This is a channel associated with the 1222. It's about social. It's about us as social beings, right? This 1222. So this is how we communicate through the solar plexus. There's a solar plexus. The 22 connecting to the 12. So the 22 is the gift of honor, and it's the city of grace. And then the 12 is the shadow of vanity, and it's the gift of discrimination in the city of purity. So this is what's going to be activated. It's activated right now, actually, the 12.4. So let's just talk about vanity here. So vanity, we always think of vanity as the people that can't keep their, the vanity mirror, right? They can't keep their eye off the mirror. They're in love with themselves. You can see it as a narcissistic trait, right? Vanity. And this is, some would say, well, that's what it means to love yourself. That's what it is to have self-love. And that's not true, right? With this shadow. It's the ego. This is the ego's version of love, right? So the ego's in love with your uniqueness. That's what vanity is. Ego's in love with your uniqueness. And then it focuses on the differences, right? So it's the compare and contrast. Well, I'm different than that other person, so that makes me special, right? This is the shadow of vanity, is all about the need to be special. So this isolates you, of course, right? Because that's what the ego wants, is to isolate you from others. So it's really, you're in love with your differences, right? Your differences, that's what the ego is. That's what love to the ego means. I'm special, I'm different. Now your uniqueness, because I say this as there's almost 8 billion people on the planet, but there's only one you, right? You're unique. Nobody else is like you. But your uniqueness, you can't put a label on it. You can't put it in a box. And this is my uniqueness. Your uniqueness is a living essence of you, right? It's a living essence of you, and it can't be defined, and it's always changing, and it's evolving, right? So your uniqueness, right? But the ego, it's all about the ego attachment. That's what vanity is, right? So even the ego can attach to that, try to attach to it and put a label on it. So as soon as you're out of this shadow of vanity, it's just a naturalness. You're not trying to label yourself. You're not comparing yourself to other people. You're just your natural self. So this is all about, vanity is all about self-identification. So let's look at what the ego says about this shadow, how you're in this shadow of vanity. So this is one of the last shadows to go, right? It's one of the last shadows to go as you ascend, as you evolve. And the ego is saying to wear a mask. And that's a big one. You can't be yourself. You got to wear a mask. Whatever that mask is, your social status, the people that you hang around with, that's part of wearing a mask too. Your job title, even your partner, you're wearing a mask. It's all about not being your authentic self and just fitting in, right? I'm special, right? This is the vanity. So it's not allowing you just to be your authentic self and your natural self. Self-importance, right? Vanity is self-importance. And then it's connected to the voice, because you can see up here, right? It's coming off the throat chakra. So that has a lot to do with your voice and language. So your voice is the most important voice in the room. That's what the ego tells you in the shadow pattern. And love hearing the sound of your own voice. Again, it's about isolation, right? And that the ego will say you need to be defensive and guard it with other people, right? Creating walls around yourself. You have to remain secretive and silent with other people. You can't give them any ammunition to use against you, right? You must never, ever speak from your true feelings in your heart, right? Because there's the fear. Every shadow has a fear, and the fear is that you'll lose your power if you truly live from your heart. And this isn't true. That's where all your power is in your heart. So, and also that you're spiritually superior to others. The ego will tell you like you're more evolved, you know more than other people. And you're justified in using, because it's coming from the throat chakra, so it's very gifted in communication. So the ego will tell you, well, you're justified in using your gift of communication to inflict pain on others, right? Without considering the pain that they're causing you, right? That you're causing them. So use of words, right, to harm. This is the ego. It's all about, remember what I say, it's all about the hierarchy, right? This is coming down for this new age of Aquarius and the new cross of the sleeping phoenix. These hierarchies are breaking down. Right, so this is about getting one up on another person, and I'm justified in doing that. Right? This is when you're all in your ego, completely disconnected from your heart. And this is what the shadow of vanity creates. It's like, I have to create this wall, this cement wall around my heart so that I can't, that I'll be protected, right? And all the judgments that come with that. Well, you're weak, right? If you speak from your heart, not your intellect, right? So this is ego love. This vanity, this is called ego love. So Mars is activating this. So we're going to see this in other people, right? You may not be able to see this shadow in yourself. We all have it. Even if you don't have the 12 in your natal chart, we have all 64 of these. But the ones that are activated are more in our face, right? We can see them more clearly. But we all have this shadow of vanity, you know? And it's, like I said, it's the last one to go before the ego death here. So with vanity, to move out of vanity, because if you're like, well, I love myself, I don't want to change, I love everything about myself, even if you're hurting people left and right, well, it's their problem, I still love myself. That's the narcissist, right? They don't consider other people at all, and they call this self-love. It's an arrogance, right? It's the arrogance of the ego. Well, you know you're in vanity when you're pointing your finger outside and you got the good talk going that, oh, I love myself, right? It's their problem if they don't like who I am, tough titties, right? I'm just going to be me, right? That's vanity. When you know that you're out of vanity and to truly love yourself, like true self-love is when you love everyone. So if you're judging somebody, I don't like that person because, you know, whatever it is, you got to turn it back on yourself. This is Shadow 101. So Yogi Bhajan said, right, see God in all or don't see God at all, right? You're not in self-love if you still have judgment towards other people, right? So loving yourself, because some people think, well, loving other people means I'm a doormat, right? I let them walk all over me. This is what narcissists teach us, right? Is that, no, you can't step over my boundaries. I can love you. I can love everybody on the planet, but I don't have to trust everybody, right? There's a difference. Love doesn't mean trust, right? Love doesn't mean I trust that person, especially if they've shown you through their behavior and their actions and their words that they're not to be trusted. Then that's your right, right? That's your right. That's about setting a boundary, but it's not about putting up the cement walls around your heart. Your heart's still open, but you're setting a boundary because it's coming from a true place of self-love, right? So you can love somebody and not trust them. These two don't have to always come together. I mean, they're great when they do come together, when you do trust someone and then love them, right? But you can love everybody. So this is loving without conditions. Now with vanity, the shadow of vanity, that's loving another person with conditions. That's loving yourself even with conditions. Vanity could be, well, I love how I look. I love my appearance. I love my skin. I love my silky hair, whatever it is, right? This is the ego attached. I love these things about me. But what happens when you start aging, right, and your beauty starts fading, that outer physical beauty starts fading, well, then the ego turns on you, right? Because there's an attachment there. That's not true love, right? It's not true love. To move out of this vanity, it's about loving your soul, basically your soul and your essence and your uniqueness. That's what you're truly loving. And then you're falling in love with that, So let's look at the gift here of discrimination. This is a gift of discrimination and purity. So in this, when you're in the gift, authenticity is everything to you. Vanity is all about wearing a mask. It's not about being authentic at all. It's all about being fake, right? That's what vanity is, being fake, so I can get one up on somebody else, right? So I have power over somebody else. I'm higher on the social ladder than other people. So So authenticity is everything in this purity in the gift of discrimination and purity. So this is when you're in the gift, you recognize when you're not being authentic. Well, I'm not being authentic and I'm wearing a mask. And how do you know? You scoot down to your heart chakra. Is my heart open right now? Or is it closed? Am I speaking from, because it's about communication, am I speaking from my ego in my mind? Because I want somebody to validate me or make me feel good about myself, inflate my ego, right? Where I'm not being real. Or am I actually speaking from my heart? That's when you know if you're authentic or not. You're not in this script, a script in your head about I should say this so I'll get this back. It's the bargain, right? The tit for tat. I say this and that other person inflates my ego, right? So you're in your naturalness. You don't think about your authenticity. It's just something that you are, It's just about getting the ego and the mind out of the way. So you want to make sure, like even watch yourself during this time with this Mars retrograde, is when you're, am I speaking from my heart right now? Are my words coming from my heart or are they coming from somewhere else? And this is when you discrimination is when you fall in love with the people and the things outside of yourself that make you feel good, that make you, your essence, feel good, that light up your soul, not inflate your ego. Right? That's inauthentic, right? So do you see the discrimination? So it's falling in love, right? With your life, with all the things in your life that you have so much gratitude and appreciation for. And then you fall in love with the purity of your soul. And then what happens there? Your soul falls in love with you. The divine falls in love with you when you fall in love with the purity, that word purity. Your soul is pure. Your soul is pure. Your heart is pure. Like to trust that. This is your true power. And this is what we're going to realize during this Mars retrograde, right? Because Mars is going to trigger all those egos. This vanity shadow is going to come out screaming from people. And this is what's happening is the ego is being dismantled for the age of Aquarius, right? So that means it doesn't have the same power that it used to. So the ego is going to try its old tricks with its vanity, right? I'm going to make this happen. This is what usually happened in the past. I said this, I did this, I acted this way. I was inauthentic, but I got the great job. I got the superficial partner. I got this and I got that to inflate, to pump up that ego. Well, it's not going to work anymore with the Mars retrograde, right? It's like it's being shut down. That power is going to be shut down from the ego, right? So what's going to happen with that? Anger. The anger comes out, right? It's not going my way. It's not going the ego's way because it's time now for the soul to take over during this age of Aquarius. We're shifting our authority from our mind and ego to the soul. This has to change. This has to shift and change. This is what the dark night of the soul is all about, right? Is to bring this spirit awareness forward. So you have to be aware of this with Mars retrograde. Like people are going to be lashing out and you have to look at it. It's like you can love somebody even when their ego's lashing out like a snake, right? To just be in your higher self, right? Trying to take the high road in all matters. That's what I would say. So, yeah, and then you only use words that are coming from your heart. This is discrimination and purity. So just take a moment during this time to reflect on who am I surrounding myself with, right? And you're going to see people very, very clearly now. The masks are coming off. The vanity is all about wearing a mask, right? The energy now is ripping the masks off. People, we're seeing it. Look at the mainstream news, these stories that are coming out. Because the masks people can't hide anymore. This is what's said in the Aquarian age. And that goes for you too. You can't hide behind a mask anymore. It's going to come off. It's going to come off. And you'll see it. You'll have your own unique experience of it, but you'll go through some kind of loss, If anything that's not authentic to you and your soul is going, it will go. Any attachments will go during this time, right? And then we've got the November 8th lunar eclipse coming up, so that's more loss. But it's something to celebrate. The only one that's going to be all upset about it is this ego, not your greater soul. So let's just talk about the emotion of anger. So this is the emotional layer cake, right? So you have a visual here. So the three primary emotions here are anger, fear, and grief, right? So there's different flavors of the anger. So I just want to keep this simple. Is depression. So there could be a lot of depression during this time as well. You may already be feeling it. Depression. There's going to be mental health stuff coming up too, because it's Mars in Gemini, and Gemini rules our mind and our communication, right? But you don't stop here, right? You don't stop here, because remember, you don't want to be living up here on the surface of life. I'm still amazed that some people that are so intelligent and spiritually aware, they get caught up in here. They get so caught up in here in these cycles, staying with the surface of life, pointing at the physical details, not going deeper into the root cause, right? So you don't want to be up there, and that's what the layer cake's about. You don't want to stay in anger. There's something underneath that anger. There's fear under that. There's melancholy under that. And then there's grief and sadness. And this could be a numbness too. So it's all about committing to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Like, what's the root cause? Because Mars is going to trigger this anger and depression. It's triggering the emotional body, actually, right? To start releasing this anger, depression, fear, grief, so that you can go through. And this is the vanity, right, of the ego. You can't look powerless, or you can't show any vulnerability to anybody. You've got to look like you have it all together, even though you think, you know, deep inside that you have low self-esteem and you're so insecure. So it's going to, because it's activating the root chakra, right? So it's going to bring up all that insecurity that we have. You don't want to let that stop you. This is the real work, right? Is to go through that emotional body to spirit awareness. That's our evolutionary process. Remember, we're going through this from the physical. Awareness is how we experience life, right? Most people are locked here, the physical and the mental, right? We're moving down, 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 back to frequency for the age of Aquarius, right? We're going to be living in frequency awareness, and that's to be in the present moment, the present now. The mental is time-based, the past or the future, right? So we're going to frequency, and the way to get to frequency is through this emotional layer cake. So if anger's coming up, just invite it in, like Rumi said, right? Invite it in, invite that emotion in. Here's a seat. I'm just going to be with you without conditions. That's what love is. Love has no conditions, right? And then you're going to be in your heart, and you're going to feel it all the way through. And your mind will be kicking and screaming. Your mind will be kicking, this ego will be kicking and screaming, using all the tricks it has up its sleeve to keep you from going into that emotional work. But it's all about the commitment. Speaking of Rumi, right? You have to keep breaking your heart until it opens, because this is what it's about. You go into this grief, that's the last stage, and then it triggers this heart opening, right? Our heart opening. And this has to open, right, for the age of Aquarius. So I just wanted to go the emotional trigger here. I go more into depth with my Phoenix program that I'm doing now, but I want to share a few things here, right? So it's about this solar plexus. That's here, the solar plexus here. That's what's releasing, right? What's this emotional body? Well, your emotional body is that 0 to 7 year old, right? These were the emotions, are undigested. They didn't digest. Emotions are, it's movement, it's energy in motion. And what happens as children, this is when our emotional body starts to develop, 0 to 7 years old, some kind of trauma, something happened, locked that energy from moving, crystallized, right? So it became almost solid. This is the discomfort you feel when you get triggered, that discomfort, that restlessness where you want to run, you feel like you want to jump out of your skin. It's hitting, that energy is hitting that crystallized emotional energy that wants to move, right? It wants to move. So 0 to 7 years old, your emotional body attracts an experience, and that could be with a person, some kind of conflict or a situation, right? This is the effect. So you have conflict with somebody, you're arguing with somebody, they can't see my way, having money issues or health issues, you don't focus up here because that's being in the surface of life, right? I'm just fixated on the physical details and I have to fix it from here, up here in the surface of life. That's not the root. The root is this 0 to 7 years old, right? That's the root of it. This is what's attracting everything to you. So the anger is going to show you that, right? The anger is going to trigger more and more experiences that are going to be an echo of this 0 to 7 year old, right? Trapped emotions. So what do? This is the mirror. The effect is the mirror. I'm going to turn away from the mirror and I'm going to go inside, right? I'm going to go to my deeper self and I'm just going to feel what's coming up for me. Oh, a lot of fears coming up for me about money. I'm worried about, I'm not feeling secure. Where's the money coming from? You go even deeper than that. Get out of the story. You just feel the fear and the fear starts to move, right? You go through the layer cake. Boom. Grief. Heart opens, right? And then you're through. You're through spirit awareness, right? You've expanded. You've expanded into your greater self. This is the work to do now. And so anger is going to be a real gift for us because we need anger. Like a spiritual teachings is like, you're angry and that's bad and wrong. That's called spiritual leapfrog. I want to not feel this anger. I don't want to feel this discomfort. I want to be over here with the love and the light. And that's impossible, right? It's denying that something real that exists that you have to deal with. That's your responsibility, right? To deal with it. So Agni, right? In yogic teachings, we need Agni. It's like digests our food, right? That's the fire element. So we can use this energy that's going to be triggering this anger within us, which can be depression or anger, right? And use that and harness it to transform. It's a fuel to transform. And anger is going to show you, right? Like go back to the child thing that I talked to you about. But it's going to show you where no, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of being treated this way. I've had enough of this situation. I'm not going to talk myself out of my feelings anymore. I'm not going to talk myself out of my anger, right? I'm not going to listen to this ego telling me it's all okay. This is the best you can do, or to lash out at somebody else, right? Use the anger, right? Use that anger to discriminate, right? Because this is the gift of discrimination. Of like, no, I deserve something better than this. I want something better than this in my life. And sometimes that's all it takes. It's just to make that stand. It's coming from self-love, right? I want this. I deserve this. I'm not putting up with this anymore. So the angers will trigger you to show you where you need to change. This is all about change during this time. We can't be afraid of change and transformation. Okay, so I did a reading, of course, for the general, and then we'll go into the different types, the human design types. And I just want to acknowledge the people that are here. So this is, that's the 12, okay. Okay, so Satnam Janat, MG62. Pisces, Sun, Capricorn, and Aries. Capricorn rising, I assume. And Aries moon. Yeah. Jan Goodwin, Vancouver Island. 3-5 generator. Okay. And Anna, Satnam Anna. Massachusetts corruption generator. Carol, Satnam. Lisa from Florida, MG. Sag Sun. Taurus, Cancer. All right, manifesting generator. Navy, A11. Projector, awesome. Carol. Catherine, yay, a reflector is here. Brandy, generator. Luna Song, MG. Nikki, Satnam, Nikki. Brandy. Yeah, Brandy. I've never heard it say like that. Your ego is in love with your uniqueness. That's a great descriptor of vanity. That's right. And remember our true uniqueness, like I said, we can't put it in a box. We can't label it. That's what the ego, it's like Velcro. It just wants to stick to everything, right? It wants to attach everything. It wants to own it, right? And as soon as you do that, your uniqueness is lost because it's continually evolving and growing, right? My son is in the 8, right? That's my gift is uniqueness. And it's like it can't be defined. That's what I've learned in my experience. It just keeps, as soon as I feel like I found out who I am, something will happen. And it's like that drops away and something else comes, right? Yeah. Love is generator and manifestor, both here. Generator and manifestor. Do you have 2 people there? Is that what you're saying? Or do you have another personality? Adi Shakti from Australia, Satnam, Carmen, MG, Scorpio Sun, Virgo Ascendant, Gemini Moon. So Carmen, Mars may be on your Gemini or your... It says, just got my heart broken lately and it felt like a death. Yeah, thank you for this information. It makes sense. And that's the point. This is why we attract these, right? Like I said, we attract these situations. It looks like that person is breaking my heart, right? But what it is an echo from that 0 to 7-year-old, because the divine can work through all kinds of different people and situations and things. But the whole point is to reopen that heart up, right? When we were children, that's where our true power is our heart open. And vanity won't want you to do that. That shadow will not want you to do that work, right? And really, it's this death of this ego, right? This false self, the mask, right? Letting go of the mask. So one day, I know if this is, he says it's recent for spiritual designer, but you'll get to the point, maybe down the road, down the road, who knows? But you'll have gratitude for that experience, you know, that, I don't really open my heart up, you know? MG, Rebecca, 4-1 splenic projector, Leo moon, rising sun. Okay, thank you for the recorded reading. That's great. And then Kathy is a projector. Libra, Sun, Cancer, Rising, Scorpio, Moon, Satnam. Okay. So let's look at this quick reading that I did, just overall. And so it makes sense, right? It's synchronicity. So I pray over the cards before I pick them. And so here we are here, the Ace of Cups that you can see there. So this is new beginnings. I just like to hold these cards up. So Ace of Cups, new beginnings. Aces are all about new. So new beginnings in love, new beginnings in creativity. And the Ace of Cups is like a gift, right? It's a gift from the divine. It's emotional, right? The Ace of Cups is emotional. So new beginnings in love, maybe relationships, new relationships coming in as you take off the masks, right? Out of this shadow of vanity, right? New love can come in. This is self-love too. Ace of Cups is self-love. It's new beginnings and creativity too. That's why it's a little sprout, a little green sprout. So that's where we're at now. And remember with sprouts, you know, if you have something new that's surfacing, like maybe new love, new relationship, or a new creative idea, inspired idea, it's like a little sprout. You protect it a little bit, don't you? Right? You don't just throw it out in the open elements of the sun and the rain and the right. You protect it. It's like so. This is what anything new you want to. There's the walls, the mental walls up, but then the boundaries of the protection. So you're careful of who you share this with, right? You're careful of who you share. You discriminate, right? You discriminate with that gift, right? You discriminate who you share this with, right? You don't run because the ego will want to self-sabotage. Well, I'm going to run to this person who's so cynical about love, and you know, she's been divorced 4 times and she's so negative, and you know, it's always raining on everybody's parade. You're not going to run to that person. The ego will want you to run to that person, the self-sabotage, this new, right? So that's what I'm seeing there, is just to be a little bit protective and, you know, maybe keep it to yourself, especially ideas too. Because it's really easy to, when you're vulnerable like that, is to have somebody's, you know, boot come stomping down on your new idea, new love and stuff, right? So just discriminate. You'll know who to share it with and who not to. Okay. So that's the Ace of Cups. And then what not to focus on. The devil, once again, we got the devil. We got the devil last time too. And the Ace of Swords. So another ace. But this is all about the mind. It's mental, right? The Ace of Swords is mental. And this is mental clarity. So not to focus. When I see the devil and the Ace of Swords together like this, I see obsession. Obsession with trying to figure everything out, needing mental clarity about your life right now. And we're in such a great time of change, you know? And the mind is not the place to go because the mind will never be certain now. It's just there's so much change it can't handle. It can't handle this amount of change that we're going through, right? Remember, we're moving from the mental awareness system down to the solar plexus awareness, right? So not to get obsessed with trying to figure things out, right? And we've got the Two of Swords underneath that's driving it. And this is the duality of the mind. Should I do this? No, I shouldn't do this. I should do this. And then the back and forth. And it's in the mind, and it's looking for mental certainty and driving yourself crazy. Right? With the devil card there, driving yourself crazy, because the devil's all about fear, right? It's all about fear, and it keeps you stuck in your mind. And it's about feeling, right? Going down to what are the feelings that are coming up for me, right? So not to get so attached. The new's coming up, new love, new beginnings. Not to get, I got to have it all figured out. I need the 5-year plan. I need the 10-year plan. We can't make plans anymore. We're coming into the eternal now. The cross of planning is coming to an end in 2027. So we got to get used to this new way of being, right? This is also needing, because it's Mars activating the root chakra, it's needing material security too. Obsessed with the mind, using the mind to get material security too, right? And it's toxic, right? This is like, it's all fear-based, right? And this devil energy, the 15. And it's really the ego, like I said before. If any card in the tarot represents the ego, it's the devil card. So you don't want to be focused on that, right? Needing certainty, needing mental certainty, and getting yourself an obsession, like up late at night, in the mind. I got to figure all this out. Because as soon as you get out of that mind and you feel your body, you feel what your mind is doing to your body. You're contracted, you're stressed out, your health is getting undermined, you're not sleeping properly, right? You're out of your intelligence. You're disconnected from your intuition then, right? So don't go there. And don't be in this mindset of the Two of Swords. Now, the traditional image of the Two of Swords, she has a blindfold on, right? She has a blindfold on. She doesn't have one on there, but she can get out of it. That's the point, right? The Two of Swords is like I'm blindly avoiding what decision I need to make. I don't want to, the little kids do that. They hold up their ears or their eyes. I can't see you. I can't see you. I can't hear you. So it's the way of denying the truth, right, of a situation. It's like I'm blindly avoiding this. I'm going to put the blindfold up on myself. This is denial, right? Denial. And it keeps you in indecision, right? Because you want this, because you're obsessed with this mental certainty. I want guarantees, right? That's the mind. I want guarantees, the ego. I'm not doing this unless I'm guaranteed that this will happen. And that's not the spiritual journey. The spiritual journey is to make that leap of faith, right? To move forward into the void, into the darkness and the unknown, and trust, right? That's the point. That's why we're here, is to trust and have faith again. And then up top is the spiritual advice. And this is about feeling, right? The Five of Cups is about sadness, right? It's about regret. It's about disappointment, right? And not to go into this, the Queen of Wands. This is the fake mask wearing energy. So it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. You can express this Queen of Wands. This is like the narcissist. I want it my way. And look, I look so successful and I've got it all together. I may be like $200,000 in debt, but I look like I got it all, right? So you just scratch the surface on these people and you just see the lies, right? This is wearing the mask. Trying to wear the mask to hide this disappointment and sadness that you're feeling in your life, right? Because remember, we're here to open up our hearts now. This is where our power is, right? This is the Queen of Wands is about, oh, I can't look weak. I can't look powerless. It's pride. It's vanity, right? It's not real. Anything that's not real has no power anymore, and it will be ripped from you. All these lies are going to come out into the light now, right? So this is this boldness, but it's all fake, right? The Queen of Wands here, it's all fake, right? So don't be doing this. And we've been taught, we've been conditioned to do this, right? And we get fooled by these people, right? These Queen of Wands type people. But we can't. It's all fake. It's not real confidence. It's ego. It's all about ego, right? And the ego's losing its power now. So to me, with the spiritual advice, it's really to embrace the sadness. It's like, I'm going to be honest with myself. I'm not going to play these games anymore. Even if everybody in my life around me is like this Queen of Wands type people, like completely superficial up here. On the surface of life, this is Queen of Wands, loves to be up here in the material world, right? Look like they got it all together. Oh, I don't want to talk about that stuff, right? I'm the Queen of Wands. Let's be superficial. Let's just be in our egos, You want to be like, no, I'm going to be real, right? And I'm going to surround myself with people that are real and authentic because we're all going through it. Anybody that's pretending that they're not going through something, they're pretending. Right? They're pretending. And you'll know that when you feel into them, when your heart is open, that's your power. And then you come across the Queen of Wands and they're giving you the bullshit. You're going to feel like that person's totally full of it, right? They're wearing a mask. That's not true. I can feel there's something else going on inside them, right? Yeah. So this is about embracing your disappointment and sadness. And then the Three of Wands was the bottom of the deck, and that's all about the future, where you're going in the future, right? It's about preparing. So the thing with Mars retrograde, right? That's our willpower, our desire. It's about moving forward. It's all about action in the material world where it's in retrograde. It's not about acting right now, like in that sense of the word, like taking these huge steps in action. It's about preparing, right? So Vedic astrology said this is the time to prepare and be strategic, right? And go to your Mars if you're feeling like you're in a funk. Vedic astrology says this. If you're feeling like you're in a funk, go to your natal Mars in whatever house it's in. That's where you want to focus your energy, and it will pull you out of that funk that you're in, right? Yeah. So it's about preparing during this time, like getting ready for when January comes to really move forward, but getting smart. And that means doing this emotional work. So then the ego cards here. So these are the major blocks. Our heartbreak. More of an echo here of heartbreak. So this is the hide heartbreak. This is what the ego is telling you. And this is I'm fine. Put on I'm fine face. That's the Queen of Wands. Put in an I'm fine face on. That's the past. You know these people. That's the past. I went through that. I'm over that. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. And clearly when you feel them, they're angry about it, what happened, right? It's like leaks out about their last relationship. Will just come out of them. But what comes out of their mouth is fake, right? It's a mask. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm over it. I don't want to talk about it, right? So these are the ego says to avoid and judge emotionally vulnerable people. And again, that's going to show you. I get so triggered by that person because they're so emotional and they speak from their heart and they're so authentic, and it triggers me and I want to run as fast as I can from that person. That's your ego. It's avoiding your pain. This is how the ego wants you to avoid heartbreak. So it's a refusal. This is the ego. An absolute refusal to feel your broken heart, right? And this is the heartbreak. This is the booze, right? That's alcohol is all about, trying to heal that broken heart in an ego way without actually feeling it, right? So you got the Five of Cups and this and the Queen of Wands. So that's the block to you want to avoid this. Your ego is attempting to avoid this broken heart, and only you can heal it, right? Nobody else can heal it. And then you got the I don't understand card. That's the ego. So this is intense emotions coming up around karmic relationships, right? This is the relationship year. We've met our karmic people. You've met your karmic people here this year, right? Twin flames, soulmates, all of those people are coming up fast and furious, and they're bringing up these strong, crazy emotions in people. And it's like, where is that coming from? It makes no sense whatsoever. Well, it's coming from your past lives. These are spiritual connections, right? So you've got this, where is he here? This emotional body from 0 to 7, but this even goes further back into your past lives, right? So attracting in these soulmates, these karmic relationships, so that you can get at that broken heart, right? That's going to really, like, the fuel. It's going to be a lot of, like, the karmic comes in and it's like there's a little ember going, and then the big, like, jug of gasoline goes on top of it to really start moving it within you, right? And so what the ego goes into is, well, it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand where this is coming from, right? It's totally about denying the real work, which is to feel, right? To feel it. Dismissing your experience. Gaslighting yourself, right? I don't know where those emotions are coming from. They don't make sense to me. The ego's got to make sense, right? You need that Ace of Swords. It's all got to be mentally certain, so I can put it in a box, right? And I can label it, and then I can run out and get a pill for it, you know? And this is, you have to let it be. It's just about going to the feelings, right? Feeling your emotions. Yeah, and the mind and the ego will never understand past life stuff or spiritual connections that you have with people, you know? But if it's bringing up intense emotions, it's about this. It's about feeling the broken heart. The broken heart maybe from past lives, right, that you never felt. Yeah. So this is an exciting time. It's going to be an emotional time for a lot of people. That's what I see. Okay. And what else here? I think that's it. Okay. So let's go to the types, the human design types. I think I did all my slides. Yeah. And isn't it exhausting? It's exhausting to wear a mask, you know? I wore a mask back in the day. I haven't worn one in a long time now. But it was exhausting. And the thing is, when you're wearing a mask all the time, you can't be around people for very long because it takes so much energy to hold up that mask, that false self, you know? That it's exhausting. That's why these people, these Queens and Wands people, they can't be in relationships for very long because they don't want to be seen, right? They don't want to be seen for their real self, right? So it's like when you let go of the mask and just be authentic, and it can be scary, I know, when you start to like, I'm just going to be real. I'm just going to be honest. It can be scary because you come face to face with, well, what will that other person think of me? They're going to judge me, or they'll reject me. They'll abandon me. I'll feel shame. Shame comes up about it. I feel guilty about being myself, right? All those wounds come up, you know? But it frees up so much energy for you just to be yourself. And then you attract people that want to be their authentic selves too, right? Your soul tribe. Start attracting your soul tribe, your soul allies. Okay. And I think I want to get the human design types here. So be sure to write down your type if you know it down there so we know who's who. And we'll start off with the generators. So the generators, let me just get my overlay here on, are 70% of the world. The generators. There we go. Okay. Just give me a second here. Oh. I want to, I want to just download the type here. That. And this here. I think this is the right one. There we go. Let me get this one up instead. Are people feeling this energy now, this Mars retrograde? Are you tuned into it? I mean, it started October 30th. We were even feeling it a little bit before that. I want to get the right image up here. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Type. HD. Okay. Okay, I don't have that image of me, but I don't want to waste people's time here. Okay, so let's start with the generators. So if you're a generator type, and again, if you don't know your type, just go to the link below. I usually have the link below, and get your free chart, and you can find out how your aura works. So remember, our auras are 9 feet in every direction according to yogic teachings, but they operate differently, right? So this is what you can count on for your decision making, is how your aura type works. So I go into that in my recorded readings, right? For all the types, actually, for your type. Yeah, so we can see that better. So you have an open and enveloping aura, generators. And so this means that you respond. That's your strategy, is you respond. So life is bringing you, always delivering you experiences and people. And then you respond from your navel. And so your navel will speak in a yes or a no. It doesn't actually say yes or no, because somebody asked me that. It's like a pull. I'm not a generator, I'm a projector. So the yes is like you feel pulled into something. You feel like, yes, right? I'm pulled into that. Or you feel repelled, and that's the no. That's the no, that's not for me. So this shows you what's correct for you, is to trust your aura type and not your ego, not your not-self mind, right? Not to trust that. And so when you're operating correctly, when you embrace that, well, this is how I work, and it's an experiment. It's not a belief system. It's about having the experience. Does this work for me or not? And it will. It will, but it's about trusting and waiting for the right response, something really positive to respond to, and it will come. It will come to you. So 70% of the world are generators. And when they're operating correctly, they feel fulfilled. They feel satisfied, especially in their work. Like, work's really important for you. So maybe you're going through some anger around, because it's Mars retrograde, some anger about work, the work you're doing. And maybe you're at a place, generators need to know this, and manifesting generators. Maybe you're at a place, it's like, I need to really expand. I feel like I need to expand. I feel bored at my work, like I'm just a cog in the wheel. And I really want that job up there, like up the ladder maybe, I want more responsibility or whatever. Well, where the generator gets into trouble is they try to be like a manifester, and manifestors initiate, right? So they're running into the office, and I've had enough of this to your boss. You making threats, right? You either do this or I'm leaving. I'm out of here. Well, you're going to get fired, right? That's how it will work, because that's not how you operate as a generator. You wait, right? So you just wait. You trust. So generators, they evolve through levels. So it's like when you're feeling that kind of frustration, I'm ready to expand. That feeling, I'm ready for things to change. It's like you wait and you trust your aura, and then you're at that level, you're at a plateau, and then something will happen, right? And then you attract something that's perfect for you. So that's where I would say generators get into trouble with their work, is they don't trust a plateau when they're in a plateau, right? Yeah. So you want to love the work you're doing, right? Because you're generating, the generators generate the life force energy that we feel on the planet. Okay, so what do the generators need to know? That one just flew out of the deck. Just what I was talking about. The hangman. And isn't it interesting? It's the number 12, right? And the shadow is vanity. So hangman is saying to take a pause, which fits with the energy, right? And so the hangman's all about enlightenment too. It's forming a different perspective. Because remember, generators, when you're in the ego, right? The ego. Worm tongue represents the ego in my world, and you're listening to the ego. You're very limited in your perception, right? You can't really see the full picture, right? Because the ego is only desiring to make itself special with this shadow of vanity. I want to be special. I want to be different. I want to be different. Which is not to be yourself, right? So let's see what the ego is saying here. So the hangman is saying to let go of control during this time, during this Mars retrograde in the shadow of vanity. And it's going to bring up your stuff. As soon as you stop and you commit, like I'm not going to do my old ways, running around like a chicken with its head cut off. I'm going to sit and I'm going to wait. I'm going to trust my aura generator, right? I'm going to surrender to life. That's your word, is surrendering to life. Maybe I'm going to learn more about myself. Maybe I'm going to learn about how this generator stuff works. Maybe I'm going to learn astrology, right? Because of all the types, it's the generator and the manifesting generator that have to know about themselves. Okay. We got, I'm going to use something else here. Okay, we'll do this. What's the generator? Okay, Cancer in the 8th. Okay. So the generator's got the revenge card. You can see him plotting revenge. So this is about the wounding in the past. So this goes well with the overall reading, right? This regret and disappointment. This is the spiritual advice. Get out of the fakey fake, pretending you're somebody that you're not. The Queen of Wands. Go into the heart. Go into your emotional self. And so the revenge is the ego, right? Wants to get back. Wants to attack back at that person that hurt you in the past, right? The 5 of Cups there, right? So this energy, you may say, well, I don't have that. Occasionally, okay, something pops up. Well, Mars retrograde is going to bring up all those old grudges are going to come up because it's in Gemini, right? Mars in Gemini. It's going to come up in your thinking. So if you're thinking about somebody and they said this to me and they did that to me, but I'm trying to be the Queen of Wands and I'm going to try to repress it. I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not going to indulge in it, but it keeps coming up because it's calling for your attention, right? And the anger is going to get stronger and stronger within you with Mars retrograde. So what can happen is that this can get repressed, this energy of revenge, right? Because it's anger. But underneath that, right, generators, is the layer cake, right? It's the anger, the fear, and the grief. Fear and grief are underneath this anger. And this is what you need to do. This is the work you need to do, generators, to get to this other side. This is how we evolve through the emotional body. Well, this energy's got its energy. It's got to move. That's what emotions are, energy and motion. Well, it's going to get repressed if you repress it, right? If you repress it, like with the Ace of Swords and the Devil energy, I don't want to deal with this because I don't understand it. I don't mentally understand it. So it has no value to me, the ego, right? This has no value to me. I can't use it. Well, this can get repressed and then it expresses itself as self-sabotage, right? You get into accidents or you go through loss or failure or something in your life. Or general setbacks. This is the revenge. It's like that revenge is like turned on you. I know that's a deep thing to take in, but it may resonate for some of you generators. So to watch that, it's like, yeah, I've been in an accident after accident. Well, something's calling for your attention, right? So you want to give up revenge, trying to get revenge on somebody else. So what you're giving up on is you're not going to listen to your ego anymore, right? And you're going to go into those deeper emotions, this 5 of Cups and this heartbreak energy, and you're just going to feel it. And just let God the divine take care of that other person, right? We've all been harmed. All of us have been harmed and wounded by other people, right? So this is saying not to act on it, right? Not to act on it. And your response will show you, right? If you're in your response mode, you're not in this. Your sacral doesn't want revenge on people, right? The sacral's not interested in that. Your sacral is all about you doing your soul's journey, right? What you've come down here on the planet to do, your soul purpose. That's what your sacral's all about. So you can trust that, but you can't trust this ego as far as you can throw it, right? Because what is this revenge about? It's the famous Buddha quote. Well, I'm going to drink poison and expect the other person to die. It's just going to harm you, right? It's keeping that anger inside you, right? And you've got to let it go. So with anger, it's really about it's got to be a physical release, right? So you need to find ways that you can let this go, because it's an energy, right? It's got, so because you can go into, oh, I want to forgive, and I do affirmations, and no, that energy has to be expressed, right? Through some kind of physical exercise is the best, or yoga. Kundalini yoga's got lots. I've got a meditation for releasing childhood anger, because this goes way back to 0 to 7 years old. This is revenge against a parent, right? And that's a really good one. Just Google that on my YouTube channel, Letting Go of Childhood Anger. That will get at it. But this hangman is saying to stop, right? To stop and gain a new perspective. So you'll be ready in January to move forward. And then you've got I've got dice here. I don't know if you can see the dice there. The 69, that's the Cancer, right? Cancer. So this is saying that it's going back to your childhood, right? The Cancer. This is your emotional self. And it's the 8th house. The 8th house. So this is deep, right? The 8th house is all about deep psychological wounding and traumas want to be released now through this Mars retrograde. So this could be playing out with a partner, like maybe you're going through an ugly divorce or something like that, this revenge, to watch that. And to love yourself, And to love yourself is to let go, right? Is to feel that anger, right? The revenge. I'm gonna be with the anger as a generator, and it could be depression too. That's anger turned inward, and that's going to come into fear. If I stay with it, I stay with the anger. Then the fear comes, and then the grief, and then the crying, right? And then the open heart, right? Then your heart shatters open, and you're through the other side. So that's what this is saying for the generators. Anything else for the generators? Yeah, the ego loves to believes in punishment, right? And it believes it's got to punish. The ego is like, our whole legal system's based on this. I'm going to punish you, right? Because you did this to me, tit for tat. I'm going to do this for you. But the ego doesn't know the divine is in charge, right? And especially now, the karma is really up. Mars in Gemini, that's all about karma coming, karmic paybacks coming. Yeah, and to let it go. Okay, so that's the generators right there. And I do. Okay. Oh, thank you, Jeanette, for asking that. Getting people to like. That would be good. Satnam Shaima. Deb. Yeah, Deb's got it in the 12th house. Yeah. Okay. As a projector. Okay, so that's the generators. And hopefully that you resonate with that. And if you don't, then it's not your message. Okay, let's do the manifesting generators here. the manifesting generators. So 70% are generators and manifesting generators. So this is 35% are manifesting generators here of the planet. Right, there we go. So I'm going to do this. There we go. Okay. So the manifesting generators. So you too have an open and enveloping aura like the generators, the pure generators. But you, so you're here to respond with a yes or no, just like the generators, from your sacral. So that's how your aura works. But the thing with the manifesting generators is they're a hybrid of the generator and the manifesting generator. So they can manifest, but they need to respond first. So they can get into trouble because they think they're a manifester, so they're operating as their non-type, and it will exhaust them, right? So that's how you know that you're not operating correctly. You feel frustrated and you feel exhausted, like burned out, right? As a manifesting generator. Yeah. So the thing that I say with manifesting generators, you're going to really feel this Mars retrograde, right? Because you're an impatient type anyway, for the most part. Things are not going to be moving your way, right? So it's all about learning to wait, right? Wait for something to respond to with a yes or no. Yeah. And remember this overall reading, it's showing us that something new is beginning for all of us, something new and creative. So in love, creativity, a new job, maybe because it's about self-love, so new ways of loving yourself, bringing in new habits, things like that. For the manifesting generators. So let's see what the ego says for the manifesting generators. So to write down to-do lists for the because they move so fast, the manifesting generators. To-do list will really help you to write things down. In Mars retrograde, it's not about taking action, huge, bold moves right now. That's the other thing this is saying, right? It's not to get into this Queen of Wands energy, which is bold and brazen. It's all about strategy right now. Preparing for January when you're really moving forward. Okay, so that's the card. So you got the suppression card. Let me get my... So this is the ego and mind's attempt, right? Is to suppress your energy. To suppress your energy that's moving. And remember, as a manifesting generator, when you do that, you're out of your power. You're right. You generate energy. You've got the life force energy here, you know, right? That sacral's defined. So you don't want to be suppressing your energy. That's dangerous, right? For you, for all the generators and the manifesting generators. And this is about not expressing your authenticity, you know, not expressing your authenticity. So I want to go back, right? The 12 comes off the throat chakra, up here, the throat chakra. So it's all about expression. Your authenticity is about expressing who you are. And we do that through our words, right? So if you're suppressing that energy, right? It's going to affect you. You have throat problems, thyroid problems, things like that. So you got to watch that. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to be fake when you're doing that as a manifesting generator. And that's not where to go in this reading. Is showing you that for this Mars retrograde in the 12 is not to go into vanity, right? Not willing to show any kind of emotional vulnerability or weakness. And it's not a weakness. Okay. Okay, and then we'll do 2 die for the manifesting generator. It's the manifesting generator. The 10. Okay. Okay, so you got the suppression card right there. So suppressing your your energy, suppressing your authenticity, who you really are. And what you don't deliver will destroy you. So what's that about? It's about your soul purpose. That's what I see here is your soul purpose. So you're here, manifesting generator. You're here for a reason on this planet. And it never just involves you. It's not a selfish, this is vanity. It's all about me, 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 me. Right? The soul purpose is about others. It's about the service to humanity as a manifesting generator. So if you don't deliver that, you're not allowing your authenticity to move. You're suppressing the energy that wants to be expressed through you, through your soul purpose, right? Because your soul purpose is not something outside here. It's coming from inside first, and then it's expressed out through you, through your authenticity. Well, it's going to bite you. It's going to bite you. If you don't let that flow, it will destroy you. That same energy that's here to be delivered out in the external to humanity, it will turn on you, right? It will turn on you. So this distorts the energy. It distorts the energy. So for example, your intuition, because we got the 10th house. You know, I got dice here for you too. I don't think you can see that, but it says 10. Take my word for it. And then Capricorn symbol there. This is all about your soul purpose. Capricorn rules the 10th house, right? So if your intuition, let's look at this, suppression. So if your intuition is guiding you, right? So you got, let's say, okay, so something comes up, like a career opportunity comes up, and your intuition, your sacral is saying yes, 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 but you're blocking it, right? You're totally blocking it. Then obsessive thinking starts. This is obsessive thinking, right? About it, right? It just won't leave you. It won't leave you because it is for you. You can't escape your destiny, you know? I love that quote, you meet your destiny on the road you take to avoid it. You know, you can't avoid it. But this will just cause health problems and mental health problems if you suppress this energy. When you're getting a yes to move forward on your soul's purpose, because that's the 10th house, that's career, your vocation, how you're known out in the world, how you present yourself out into the world as you, right, your vocation. And Capricorn is about responsibility, right? So not shirking your responsibility by suppressing that energy. And that could be just listening to that silly ego right here. That voice in your head that you think is you is not you. This is the non-self. It's just a representation of the non-self telling you that you're not, oh, you can't do it, right? Or what about this and what about that? And this is this overall reading, getting obsessed with needing mental clarity. The devil and the Ace of Swords. Ace of Cups, new beginning and work too, right? Something that you really love to do is to trust it. That's what this is saying, is to trust it. And get into the Capricornian energy of that the responsibility, you know, especially if you're awake and you've done your work. We're always doing our work, but our inner work, and now you're being called to expand and to spread that light to others, because the 10th house is like, yeah. And usually if we have career problems, like stuff around like, oh, I can't manifest this job I want, and I undermine myself, and I listen to that ego that says I'm too small and it's too big, and I can't do that. There's other people that are better than me. Well, you got to go back to the father, right? It's father issues that with career and money and things like that. You go back to the father, that you've got issues with the father, right? Because it's all about feeling this disappointment from the past, right? In the heartbreak. And then you've got the 6 of Swords, which is moving away from difficulties, moving away from difficulties. So the difficulties are like feeling that you got to suppress your energy. You got to hide your light. You know, you got to hide your light. And it's about moving forward. So suppression is the medicine here is to make one baby step forward. And the baby step is to listen to your response. One step at a time. You don't need to have it all figured out. The Ace of Cups and Devil. The whole thing, how is this going to work? It's just responding one step at a time in the now, right? With the yes or the no. Yeah. So to watch that, if I've got obsessive thinking about something, right? Some kind of career opportunity, then I got to look at like, what am I suppressing? What energy am I suppressing right now? What am I saying no to from my mind? My sacral is saying yes, 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 but my mind is saying no, 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 right? This will get you out, right? Out of this. So it's moving out of difficulties. I see the mind, right? Because it's Mars and Gemini. It's all about your mind. And the thing I want to say is you wouldn't be given such a big opportunity if you weren't, like God wouldn't give you this big opportunity and put it in front of you if you weren't ready, right? So it means you're ready. You're ready. So it's one response at a time, not to listen to the ego saying that you're not ready, you know? Yeah. It's about believing in yourself and taking your place, right? This is the thing, we're maturing right now. As spiritual adults, we're becoming spiritual adults. That's what the 10th house is showing. So we're maturing. It's time to take our place in leadership. You know, clearly the leaders that we've chosen are not equipped, right? It's time for the people of light to like start. You know, I always think of that story about the children. If you let like, kindergarten kids alone and the teacher goes, and the teacher comes back, she comes back, and like there's just chaos and, right, the crayon markings all over the walls and paper everywhere, and people with kids in the, ate all their lunch and their food, and some are sick and throwing up and stuff. Well, the teacher doesn't blame the children, right? Somebody wouldn't come in and say, oh, it's the children's fault. They would say, well, where was the teacher, right? Where was the teacher? And that's what we're asking now in the world. It's like, where are the teachers, right? Where are the spiritual adults now? Where are the true leaders? So this is what it's saying to me, manifesting generators. So it doesn't mean like you're running for president or whatever, but you're taking your place, because life will show you where you're to take place, where you're to take your place, right? As an authority, right? As a leader for others, to show them the way, to be the lighthouse. And this is going to take you out of any stress that you've been in, right? Moving out of difficult. It's a rite of passage. This is the Six of Swords. Your rite of passage is moving into your place of leadership. That's what I see for the manifesting generators. And to stop suppressing your sacral. Okay. It's just fear, right? It's just about moving through the fear. Okay. And maybe it doesn't fit, manifesting generators, with this vanity, the shadow of vanity. And to watch that too, well, that's not special enough for me. You don't know where that's going to lead. That baby step may lead to something else and something else and something else. It's about trusting your sacral and your response. Okay. Let's go for the projector. So I'm a projector, 2-4 projector, emotional projector, 3 parts right, and right angle cross of contagion. Which means I'm like a virus, but I'm a good kind of virus. That's my incarnation cross. Okay. But I'm not attached, right? I'm not in vanity. I'm not attached. Okay, so the projectors have the absorbing and focused aura. So this is 20% of the world are projectors. So Mars retrograde, we know this as projectors, right? This Mars retrograde, it's waiting for the invitation. We're always waiting for an invitation. So waiting to be recognized for our gifts and talents and waiting to be invited. So invited to a job, our sole purpose, invited to a place to live, invited to a deep friendship, and invited to a romantic relationship. We have to be invited. So that means we have to be recognized. People have to see us and get us. So we're here to guide the other types. All right? So what makes a projector is they don't have that sacral. See, the manifesting generators and the generators have that sacral, that red square colored in. We don't have that colored in as projectors. So we're here to guide the other types. Okay, let's see what we got for the projectors. Okay, I'm going to take that because it came up so much. Okay. So you got the Justice card. That's Major Arcana. And this is like the Karma card, the Karma coming into balance. And it's Truth Revealed. Let's see what the ego's got to say. So vanity. The one thing I would say for the projectors, because we're in the shadow of vanity in Mars retrograde, is it can work the other way. You can feel victimized by your uniqueness in a way, you know? So we think of vanity as the pumping, the inflating of the ego, right? I'm so special. I'm falling in love with my uniqueness. And my difference is how I'm different than other people. But it can work the other way too. The ego can deflate you, right? It can be a deflated ego where you can be victimized by your uniqueness or your specialness, right? Because projectors are 20% of the world. And it's really easy for us to get on the pity potty, right? Living in this generator world and not really fitting in, and we don't have the energy that the generators have, and we're called lazy, and you know, because we're not here to work, we're here to study. So that can work the other way too with the ego. Poor me, right? Because I'm so different than the other types. So to watch that too is vanity. Okay, let's see what the ego's got to say to the projectors here. Mars. So bitterness, right? The projector, when they're not operating correctly and they're not waiting for the invitation or waiting to be recognized in the invitation, they can feel bitter, which is the flavor of anger. The bitterness of not being recognized, because the projector lives for recognition, to be recognized. So that may be coming up pretty strong during this Mars retrograde. Okay, then let's do the dice here for projectors. Oh, so you got the Gemini. Isn't that interesting? Okay, let's break this down here. So you got the Justice card, Major Arcana, right? So this is Major Arcana cards in Tarot, the archetypes of Tarot. Remember, these go way, way back, right? The Tarot. There's a lot of wisdom in them. And they're all coming from our unconscious of humanity, right? This Tarot. Is that truth will be revealed during this Mars retrograde. and something will come into balance. So like I said, with Gemini, Mars and Gemini, that's a archetype of a balancing of karma, you know? And then you've got the Four of Cups, the Four of Cups here. So this is emotional. This is boredom, right? Projectors know this. Boredom, waiting for the invitation, especially if you're just waiting for the invitation and you're not doing things that you love to do, right? That you're passionate about, like studying and things like that. So projectors are here to master a system. You can feel ingratitude with the Four of Cups. You can feel like you missed out. Four of Cups is like I missed out on my opportunity. I'm too old to do this. I'm too old. That's a big excuse, you know? Or it didn't come through. The invitation didn't come through. So there's no hope for me anymore. Well, this is saying that this is coming into balance, right? This is coming into balance. So maybe you feel like you missed a missed opportunity in the past, and you just like, okay, it's gone. I missed that opportunity. I really wanted that invitation, but it didn't come to me. Well, justice is coming, and there's going to be a truth revealed of why this didn't come through. And often it's about divine timing too. Like we have to trust the timing of the divine, you know, that it can't just be on the mind's timeline, you know. It's got to be divinely orchestrated, you know. So say an opportunity like, you know, like a business opportunity, if you're running your own business, or an invitation somewhere didn't come through, like in terms of your work, or a relationship didn't come through, right? Well, you've got to know, like, rise above and have a greater perspective of as a projector. And it's like, oh, all of these things have to come together. It's just not about me and my life. It's that person and their life, and in this work experience, everything has to come together, and then it lands as one when it's ready, when all parties are ready, right? So that's what I say here is a trust, trust in the justice that's here, and to feel, you know, the larger one, right, is to feel any regret, disappointment, sadness of losing out, feeling like you missed out, FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, the Four of Cups. And then you got the expectations card. So that's the ego. That's the ego. And so this is the ego is expecting things to go a certain way. So this would be like this Four of Cups. I expected this invitation to come through, right? And that's the mind at this time, because it's about time. And in this way, right? So whenever we're expecting something, this causes disappointment, right? Disappointment when we're allowing the mind to take over and hijack our whole experience of invitation as a projector. The expectations can be expecting something bad to happen too, right? Or something good to happen, but it keeps us away from being in reality, being in our experience, because we're in our mind when we're listening to that ego non-self saying, oh, that's not going to work out, right? That will never work out, or this will work out, right? And then, of course, life doesn't fulfill our expectations. And this is, you know, I'll believe it when I see it. This card too, this ego card too, is I'll believe it when I see it. So it gets you into this ingratitude. The Four of Cups is ingratitude, not being grateful. We don't know what's going on again, right, with divine timing. So it's about trust and faith. That's what I really see during this time, right, is to have trust and faith in the divine. That will happen when it's supposed to happen. Okay. And you'll see it when you believe it. That's how it works, right? I'll see it when I believe it. When I believe it. When I have faith and I believe in myself, and I have my own self-love, right? Ace of Cups is about self-love. So this is new beginnings in love and creativity. Not to get obsessed, projectors, because projectors can really get in their mind too, right? Obsessed with needing mental certainty. Well, if it didn't happen, so I don't see it on the external, so it's not going to happen, right? And I'm just going to go into this pity-potty mode of this vanity, inverse vanity. And then the dice. You got Gemini, and then the fourth house in Gemini. So Gemini, so Mars is in Gemini, right? Mars retrograde is in Gemini. And then in the fourth house, it's about your emotions, right? Trying to talk yourself out of your emotions. Oh, and it's the Four of Cups too. Yeah. Gemini. So it's home. Fourth house is home. That's what I see. It's like avoiding. It's avoiding this. Right? That ego in the mind. It's Gemini, right? It's like back and forth and duality and the constant thinking and communicating. So there can be anger. This is what I want to say. There can be anger that can be leaked out. That bitterness of the projector can leak out in your communication with people that you're close to, right? With the fourth house. People that you live with, people that you love. The fourth house is all about love. A maternal figure maybe in your life. Maybe your mother's not around, but we have spiritual mothers, or somebody takes on the role of mother for us, like usually an older woman, So to watch that, to not, because this is the time not to be blurting out, right? Blurting out, especially as a projector and you haven't been invited, and you just blurt it out. And it could be truth, 100% truth. Right? I'm just like, I'm reacting, I've had enough, and out it comes, right? And it could be 100% true. But if it's not coming from the heart, it's not true. That's not truth. Truth is not about logical, and this is factually true. Truth is a frequency, right? And it comes from the heart. That's when it's true, when it's really true. So sometimes with Gemini in the fourth house, it's about just restraining, right? Until invite it. Not like that, don't let that bitterness, because Mars retrograde, right? That bitterness take over as a projector. They're not going to recognize me, so I don't care. I'm just going to deliver this truth that's not true at all. It's a lie. Even though it's factually 100% true, it's a lie because it's not coming from your heart. And it's not going to be received by that person very well. And this could cause some karma. That's what this Justice card is telling too. Yeah. So that's what I would say to the projectors, is just feel any sadness or disappointment about this missed opportunity. You expected this opportunity to come through and it didn't. Whatever it is that you've been waiting for, and to trust that divine timing is coming. There's a balance that's coming for everybody, right? On both sides of the table here with the Four of Cups. And not to get bitter about it. That's not where to go. Go to here. Because remember, projectors, the layer cake, the bitterness, anger, depression, go down, fear, to grief, and then to open up your heart, right? And that's what this time is about, going through that emotional body, do that emotional work, and go into spirit awareness as a projector. Yeah. Okay. But that's where I see the vanity tweak for you. It's going into the pity potty about, I'm a projector. There's only 20% of us, and we have it so tough. That's vanity too, as well. Okay. Anything else for the projectors? And the thing is too, to remember as a projector, like when, okay, you didn't get the invitation. There's your mind is saying this was a missed opportunity. We also have to remember that we're being very protected right now too. You know, as our vibration is increasing. If somebody's not aligned, you may have expectations of the mind, like, oh, this person would be perfect, or this work situation would be perfect for me, but you don't know. You don't know. So it's about trusting the divine, that you're being protected, right? So just to trust that. There's a loss, a rejection that happened. It's protection. It's divine protection for me. Okay. Anything else here? That's it for the projectors. Okay. Okay. So let's go for the manifestors. The manifestors. Now this is 9% of the world are manifestors. So they've got the closed and repelling auras. The manifestors. So 9%. So they're here to initiate. They're here to inform and share, and then to initiate. And I talked to a woman the other day, and she's a manifestor. And she said it surprised her. She had a friend called her in need, and she just didn't think twice. She just got in her car and went. And I said, that's a manifestor, right? They're not ruminating. They're not procrastinating. They're acting, right? They're acting when they need to act. And they're being divinely called to act. So you have to inform, and informing is just about letting people know what's going on, especially because you're here to impact as a manifestor. So where you do think, right? So you got the divine inspiration, you know, and then you go straight to who needs to know this? Who is this going to impact? Who will this impact? And then you share it with them. This is what I'm going to do, right? So it could be like, I'm going to start my own new business. Okay, you got the divine inspiration to start your own business. Start your own business. Well, then you start to think, well, who will this impact? Okay, well, my partner who I live with, because I'm going to be working a lot more, right? With the business, you start your own business, you got to work more. You're not, 9 to 5, I'm out of the house, and it's not so routine, right? It's more, you got to put the work in, right? Well, then you tell your partner, I'm starting a new business, and it's going to take up a lot of my time. It's going to take up a lot of my time in the next 6 months, right? And then you initiate, right? And then you initiate. So you're not asking your partner for permission, but you're letting your partner know. Instead of a non-self manifestor would be like, I'm not telling anybody what I'm doing. I'm just doing it because I don't want to be controlled. I don't want somebody taking away my freedom. This is the fear of the manifestor. Or I don't want to be rejected. That person says I can't do it. Right? So the informing is just about letting them know, and then you initiate, and then you move energy, and it will turn out well for all parties involved, right? So it's about considering the people that will be impacted by your initiation. So with the manifestor, when they're operating correctly, which means they're not pretending they're a generator and I'm in the flow and I'm just going to wait for life to deliver me something, right? I need a sign from the external and I'll respond to. That's not how you work, manifestor. You work from in, getting the divine God inspiration, your marching orders, and then you inform, right? Who will be impacted by this, and then you initiate. You don't respond. You're not waiting. The manifester does not wait. The only thing you would be waiting for is your divine inspiration, but all you have to do is open up to it as a manifester. Okay, so let's see what we got here for the manifestors listening, or will listen in the future. So when they're operating correctly, they're at peace. They'll just feel peace in their life. No drama, no conflict, just peace. Okay. And when they're not operating correctly, they'll feel anger or depression. So you're really going to feel it, manifestors, if you're not operating correctly right now with Mars retrograde. Because your willpower won't work anymore. If you're just willing your way through life, it's not going to work anymore for any of the types. Okay. So let's see what the ego's got to say for the manifestors. And this is the time to initiate, you know. All these institutions are going down for this new age of Aquarius, for this new cross of the sleeping phoenix. This is ripe for initiation. Right? Because then you give other people things to respond to. You give the generator something to respond to, manifestors. The manifestors really got the new going. They get the ball rolling, the manifestors. So a lot of manifestors are afraid of their power. You know? Okay. Okay. Let's see what the dice have to say. Oh, isn't that interesting? Okay. So this is about your work, manifestors, your sole purpose. You got the Eight of Pentacles. Pentacles are all about the material world. And you got the comparison card here. Okay? So the manifestor's got to get working. That's what this Mars retrograde is saying. Working, it's mastery, it's learning, it's growing. Right? So working on something. So this could be even internal work too, manifestors. Like I've got some inner child work to do. I know that because Mars retrograde is really a time of preparation too. So it could be like I'm going to learn more about myself. I'm going to heal this. I'm going to let go of these old dynamics. I see them. I'm finally seeing them repeating themselves through all my relationships. I'm ready to deal with them. The Eight of Pentacles could be saying that too, right? Some self-esteem work that needs to be done. Learning about your inner dynamics. And then something that you're really interested in. So say, let's go back to, I'm getting the divine guidance to start my own business. Right? And you do your inform and everything, but this could be an initiation. I'm going to initiate doing the work. So that means I'm preparing. I'm learning about what it means to run my own business. I'm learning how to manage my own finances and to take care of myself. Right? That could be part of this Eight of Pentacles too. But it's to get working. That's what it's saying. It's get working. And then you've got the comparison card. Right? The little apple and the orange. This is envy. Right? So this is looking at other people and envying them. And maybe you got people in your life that they don't really work. They don't really work. Maybe they're dependent on a husband. They got the rich husband or whatever. They're the stay-at-home mom. They don't have to work. They just flitter about, right? Maybe you got some envy for that, right? As a manifestor. So this is about comparing yourself to others, and it's about being special, and this goes with the vanity, right? Mars retrograde in the shadow of vanity. I need to be special. And this is the ego's version of special. Well, I'm special because I'm being taken care of, right, as a manifestor. I don't have to work. I don't need to do this Eight of Pentacles, right? whatever it looks like for you, to watch that, because that's not coming from your divine inspiration. That's coming from your ego, right? Of what it means to be special. I want to be special. Being special means this, right? That's what the ego is telling you. So you're here, what you're really seeking, manifestors, with this comparison card, is you're seeking for self-acceptance. You're seeking validation, right, from other people. Well, that other person, their life is, the grass is greener. It's always greener on the other side. That's according to the ego. But you don't know what goes behind closed doors, right? These are the masks, these Queen of Wands type people. They got the mask on and it's all about public image and look at me. I got the trophy husband and I have the perfect kids and I have all these material things and I don't worry about money. You don't know what's going on with the Queen of Wands. You don't know, because she's a big faker. She's not authentic. She's not real, right? She's like a cardboard cutout. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors, right? That's what this card is saying here with comparison, right? So the new is beginning for the manifestors, and you can't be obsessed with having mental certainty. I want mental certainty about this. If I do this, then I'll make this much money and this will happen and that will happen. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So stop comparing yourself, and you got to give, if you're looking for self-acceptance and security, you give it to yourself. And in terms of self-reliance, manifestors, that this is the cross of the sleeping phoenix that's coming. The codependency has to go. We can't be dependent on other people. Emotionally, for our emotional needs, we can't be dependent on people for our financial needs, because it's the Eight of Pentacles. We got to take care of ourselves. And if any of the types can take care of themselves, it's the manifestors. You guys can manifest. So that's what I'm seeing, is like there's some self-esteem stuff that's got to be felt. And it goes back to the, that inner child here that has to be taken care of by you, right? Yeah. And to stay in your own lane. Like, don't be comparing yourself to others and listening to the ego making up stories about how great that person's life is. You don't know what's going on. I know a lot of people with a lot of money and they are not happy. They are not happy. I can say that with authority, right? They're in a golden cage, and that's not free. And the manifestor wants to be free. So it's time to get working, and working is every single day, showing up for yourself, right? That's what this is, mastery. This is growing. And then look at this with the dice. You got the 10th house, and then you got Capricorn. Same as manifesting generators, got the same thing. So this is about your soul purpose. The 10th house is your soul purpose. This is your Capricorn, is your duty, your obligation. You signed a soul contract. You may not remember it before you incarnate it. And you said, this is what I'm going to do, right? This is my soul contract. I signed it, right? And you'll go back after you go to the other side, and you'll get the receipts. Look, you signed it right here and you didn't do it, right? You had all this power. The divine gave you all this power as a manifestor and you didn't do it, right? This is this regret, right? There can be a lot of regret on the deathbed when you don't do your soul purpose. And the thing with your soul purpose is the ego will say, well, that's too hard. I don't want to do that. That's too hard. Because what happens to the ego when you do your soul purpose? Your soul purpose comes with so much love, right? The frequency of love. This starts to get diluted more and more and more and loses power over you. That's why the ego does not want you doing your soul purpose. But this is showing you, yes, it's Capricorn, duty, obligation. Capricorn's Eight of Pentacles. They're the goat. Every day I wake up and I do this and I chip away and I chip away and I chip away. Because Capricorn is here to leave a legacy. You're here to leave a legacy with this, right? As a manifestor and a Capricorn here in the 10th house, right? So this is going to get you out of this comparison of other people's lives and how they're living their lives. You're going to live your own life, right? There's only one you. There's only one you, right? That's your uniqueness. So you can't compare yourself. How can you compare you with somebody else? Because you're just you, right? You can only be the best you can be. So that's what I see here. And if you're worried, let me see here. With the Two of Swords underneath here, it's about choosing, right, to move forward without needing the mental certainty. Go into any regret, disappointment, right? Maybe you've got to leave something behind as you move forward on your soul purpose to be yourself and let go of the fakery, you being fake and wearing a mask and pretending you're someone you're not, and then hanging around with people that are Queen of Wands type, that are also fake and superficial, right? Yeah. So I see good things for Capricorn, preparing for your soul purpose, moving really, really forward in January 12th, but letting go of this vanity, letting go of the mask as a manifestor. And anything else for the manifestors? To trust your intuition and your divine guidance. That's what you can trust. You can't trust these Queen of Wands people, right? Because this is who they're married to, right? They're married. They may be married to another person, but they're really married to this Queen of Wands. They're married to that ego, right? You can't be trusted, but you can trust your divine inspiration. Ego just wants to lead you astray. Do you think the ego wants us doing our soul purpose? It's the last thing the ego wants us doing. It wants us enslaved, wants us in that devil energy, completely enslaved to fear, right? Being trapped, and you're a manifester and you believe that you're free, and you're not. Like, look at it in truth. Mars retrograde is going to show you that you're enslaved to this energy, fear, the material world, right? If you want true freedom, you have to break away from this. That's what I see here. Yeah. And to get working, right? Get working every day on yourself. And moving forward, because we need the manifestors activated. Okay. So that's the manifestors. Kathy. You're a manifestor, eh, Kathy? Yeah. K.A. Vacos is 1-3 manifestor. Change is brewing for me and I'm ready for whatever it brings. That's great. That's the attitude to have. Kathy says this is spot on, perfect advice, really resonates with what I'm dealing with. Not invited, seen, wanted to let go of the person. That person, no, but couldn't invite parents. So thank you. That's great. Yeah. Okay. So let's end it with the reflectors, which are 1% of the world. The reflectors are 1% of the world. So they've got the Teflon aura, right? So what makes a reflector is wherever you're colored in your chart, is what you can count on. That's what's you, right? So wherever you're where it's colored, where it's not colored in, where it's white, that's where you're open to conditioning, and that's where you're being pulled away from your authentic self, right? And what was I going to say? Just a second here. So the reflector is all white, right? So that their authority, right, is or their strategy is to follow the moon. The moon cycles before they make any major decisions. So they're very changeable, right? The reflectors, they're like magical. They're magical beings, right? They just wax and wane with the moon. So where they can get into trouble is when they try to lock themselves into just one identity. And that would come up here with this vanity, the shadow of vanity, right? The ego wanting to identify with something. Even you being a reflector. Wherever there's self-identification, that's vanity. You're not being your natural self, right? So when you're not operating correctly, you're in this energy, this Five of Cups, this disappointment. You're feeling disappointed by people, by life. But when you're operating correctly and you're following the moon, you're surprised. Like your big question every day, reflector, is like, who am I today? Who am I today? Because you're like a chameleon, right? Because you follow the moon. Follow the moon as a reflector. It's only 1% of the world. So the reflectors are here because we all serve a purpose in the evolution of humanity. The reflectors really serve to show us how healthy we're doing as a group, right? They're a barometer for our health, mental health, physical health, emotional health. So they're objective, right? The reflector's always kind of on the outside of the circle, watching and feeling. So they're very good they belong in groups. Like the projector works best with one-on-one, but the reflector works best in groups. Although I'm a projector, I like working in groups. But one-on-one within the group, that's my favorite. Okay. So let's see what we got for the reflectors for this Mars retrograde. So you're really going to feel the anger, right? Because you're so in tune with the group. Reflectors, just to watch that. Not to attach to the anger. Okay. What's the reflectors? What do we got for the reflectors? For a card for the reflectors. That one. And do we have another one for the reflectors? Okay, I felt like getting two there. Okay. So you got the Ace of Wands there, another ace. Remember the overall reading, we already have two aces. We've got the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. So this is inspired new beginning. So some kind of new beginning that you're excited about. It's spiritual too. It's spiritual energy, the Ace of Wands. It's fire, right? So that Mars energy is going to fire you up. Reflectors. It's going to fire you up. It's about your passion. And remember, you got to go through that moon cycle, right? And we got the big lunar eclipse coming on the 8th. Also the time of the elections. Isn't that an interesting timing, eh? Okay. Let's see. And then you've got the High Priestess, too, which is about your intuition. And the High Priestess is very connected to the moon. You often see the High Priestess with the moon. So this is trusting your inner guidance as a reflector. So following the moon, right? The moon's very powerful this month. And it's about revealing secrets for you. So maybe something's been blocking this, this Ace of Wands energy. Oh, look at that. You got narcissism, which is so perfect, reflectors, with the shadow of vanity. Right? They go hand in hand, narcissism and vanity. You can see her taking a selfie. I mean, this is our whole culture is built on narcissism now. Social media. So in vanity, so this is about losing the fear here of because narcissism is really the disease of the ego, right? And it's fearing losing the ego fears losing its identity. Its identity. Okay, let's do the 7th house. So this is your partnership. Okay. So you got the 7th house. You can't see that, but there's a 7. And then Virgo. Yeah. Okay. So this looks like, because it's your seventh house, so it's partnership, it's relationships, reflectors, and it's passion, right? A passionate new beginning. This often means a passionate romance coming, right? And we've got the overall reading, we've got the Ace of Cups, of new beginnings in love too. And then you've got narcissism. So you got to watch this, right? You got to watch this. And the thing with reflectors, you do reflect back to the other person so that they see themselves, right? And the narcissist, in the shadow of vanity, they love their reflection, right? They love their reflection. So I would say Virgo is discern. That's the big word for Virgo, is to discern this person, right? This is a warning. Discern this person. Have they really seen me as a reflector? Are they seeing my true essence? Because yes, you have open centers and everything, but there's the essence of you, right? Doesn't mean you don't have any essence and you don't exist and you're just this mirror, right? This mirror for other people to see themselves. So you want to make sure with discernment, is that person seeing me, or are they just seeing themselves magnified, the good things they want to see, right? Magnified in themselves. So you discern, right? And you've got the high priestess to help you with that, right? And that's your intuition. So the best thing to do if this partner comes into your field, commit to yourself. I'm going to wait 30 days. I'm going to wait through a whole moon cycle. And I'm going to be in tune with my intuition, right? Which is in tune with the moon. And then I'm going to discern, is this person really seeing me, or are they seeing themselves? And you'll know, right? And you'll know. Yeah. And even if it looks like, oh, Michael, no, he's not, he or she's not a narcissist, right? You want to be certain, right? You want to be certain. Commit to the 30 days, and you're going to learn a lot about that person in those 30 days, because you're going to be changing, right? It's like you're the mirror for that person, but the mirror is changing every day, right? As a reflector. So you're going to see that person is going to see different aspects of themselves in you, but you're also going to see how that person is shifting and changing with the mirror shifting and changing, right? Relationships are just mirrors. We're mirrors for each other, right? So that's what this is saying. Yeah. And I think you got a relationship card last time too, reflectors. So to watch that narcissism. Yeah. And to watch any narcissism in yourself, right? That's inflating that ego, right? That's getting that vanity going in you. Just to watch that. Oh, they think I'm this and I think I'm that. You want to be sober, right? As a reflector, you just don't want to be running off with the first one that asks you to dance, you know? Yeah, you want to be discerning. That's what this is saying. Okay. Anything else for the reflectors? I think that's it. Okay. And I just want to check something. I want to get on my the talking body graph here so I can give you a date. Okay. Yeah, and human design goes deeper and deeper, you know, but it's really about putting it into practice. That's what I find. Okay. Look at that, we've got the channel of awareness. So lots of sudden inner truths will be coming too. 6124. Yeah, all this week. Okay, what was I looking for here? Mars. Okay, time left. It's 41 days. Okay, So it goes until the shadow of vanity. I'm just looking at the ephemeris here, right? So it goes until November 19th. And then I believe we're in the 45 after that, but I'll do another video on that. So we're in this 12 until the 19th. And the great thing about this, it's going to show us where our ego attachments are, you know, in our life, where we get really angry when something's not going our way. It's going to serve you. You know the image I have? Remember the olden days? I don't know if this is true or not, but I love this image of a person would have a tapeworm, right? A tapeworm in their body. So they'd starve the patient and then they put food just above the patient's mouth, and then the tapeworm will come out. It's like a horror movie, right? I don't know if it's true or not, but I just love the image, right? The tapeworm's coming up for the food. Well, that's what this Mars retrograde will be like for the ego, right? Because it's kind of starving the ego with Mars retrograde, because the ego's not getting what it wants from the external. Remember, the ego's all about the external. And then things aren't going my way. I'm not getting what I want, right? Because it will become out of hiding, that ego that's kind of in the shadows in the corner, and you don't really know it's there, right? But as soon as it doesn't get its way, that's when it comes lashing out. So you can serve you, right? It's like, oh, there's where I have an ego attachment. I have to let this go. I have to surrender, right? I have to surrender, and I have to let this ego dilute, right? So just use this time. And the way that you get rid of that ego is you don't pay any attention to it. You know, you go right to this work. This is the hot tip. I'm giving you the hot tip. And just to try it, this is the work. It's to go through that emotional work, right? The ego's like, you're feeling the anger and the ego's lashing out, and that person, blame and complain and, you know, get into victim and feel sorry for yourself. Don't listen to the story that the ego is telling you, because it's going to keep you in this state of anger. It's going to keep you here. Don't listen to it, right? Starve it. Starve the ego is don't listen to it, and then move through the feelings that are coming up. That's the work. Okay, I'm just going to feel the anger without any conditions, without creating a story. And that's how transformation happens, right? That's the work that we're being called to do right now. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Pisces Maiden, I'm going to timestamp, so you can go back to the manifestors. Okay. And I think I read the other, acknowledged everybody else. But thank you for everybody for showing up. And I'm not sure when the next video will be. I'm really deep into the Phoenix program, so that's what I was working on this weekend. I'm really excited about it. I'll share more about it later on. Okay? So I think I said everything I need to say. Anyway, just take good care of yourself. Bite your tongue. Take your time, right? Be patient. And if you're not, it's like, you know, spiritual journeys about I fell off the horse, but I'm getting back on the horse, right? If you lose your grace, you want to keep your grace during this time, because people are going to start to get really emotional. Okay? So I'll see you next video. Okay. Sat Nam Aloha, everybody.